so I'm going to interact with the Athri Kumar, the person who recently got, prestigious University of Southern California. And Athri is doing job. He's electronics and communication background, and he's doing job in Bangalore. He's from Bangalore Institute of Technology, and then for the last now 2 years, he's doing job in VLSI. VLSI for electronics and communication, as you know, is a hot cake, domain to work in. So he's working there, and then he got admission into this university, which he soon will join. So during this in this video, I have interacted with him and tried to know how much money is spent, why the money should be spent. So if I don't have any money in my pocket, can I also aspire to go to those universities? And Indian technocrats are global technocrats, and we have multiple options with us. Only thing is we have to explore, and we need to know what is the best path, and that is how we have to proceed. So listen to this video, and I'm very sure you are going to get many things from this. Okay, so Athri, first of all, let me thank you for your time you spared for this interaction.
Thank you so much, sir. I would like to also thank YourPedia for giving me this opportunity to share my small journey with everybody.
Yeah. So Athri, let me congratulate you also for getting selected in MS program in University of Southern California, Los Angeles. And that is a really good news. And I congratulate you for that.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. So Athri, as you know, this Indian technocrats have this option, which is a very good option to pursue higher education abroad and further career there. So through this interaction, I'll be knowing many things about that particular thing, like how to go abroad and for MS course, and how much money investment is there, and what was the procedure you followed. So everything will get to know about that, so that prospective students who are willing to go abroad can make up their mind. And another good thing was, like, you were also doing job. So those technocrats who are in job and they want to plan for higher education and all, so for them also this will be quite useful. So I start with you, Athri. I want you to tell us about your graduation, from where you did, which part of India you are from, and when did you graduate, and when did you join the job, and how many years or months you have done your job now, and at what stage you decided, okay, now I'm to go for higher education. So your introduction. Yeah.
Right. Yes, sir. So my name is Athri, and I am from Bangalore, Karnataka, basically from southern part of India. I did my graduation undergrad from Bangalore Institute of Technology in Electronics and Communication Engineering. And I had this interest for VLSI right from my second year of engineering, when I started to take up some small projects. So since then, I have been pursuing this, or trying to improve myself in this domain, and do more and more projects in this domain to pursue my career in the same field. After my graduation in 2019, I joined Microchip Technologies as a physical design engineer, which is based out of Arizona, United States. And currently I have around 2.9 years, or you can say by the time I join my master's, it will be 3 years of work experience.
Okay, that's quite healthy work experience, right, Athri? So you got a job in a domain of your interest, VLSI, as I understood, right?
Yes.
Perfect. So doing job after graduation and then planning for masters. So at what stage during your job you thought of going for higher education?
Right. So as I mentioned earlier, I was interested in this VLSI domain right from my second year of engineering. Once I got into my electronics and communication curriculum, once I got into that completely. But although by the end of my engineering course, I was pretty much sure that this is the domain I wanted to pursue. I was not really clear about what are the problems that the novel problems that are there in this industry, what can be tackled and what can be improved upon. That actual the practicability of the concepts and those things were lacking.
Okay.
So I when I discussed with my parents these things, the best option that turned out to be was to start a job in this domain, get to learn a little bit about the practical aspects, the industry standards, how the process is done in the industry. And once I got to know a wholesome picture, a bird's eye view of the whole thing, I then a little bit it started to clear out that what are the problems that can be tackled and what can be improved, and which is the domain, or more specifically, which part of this VLSI design domain I want to research in, or get myself more equipped in. So that is when I started to look out for master's courses, which in the universities which have this particular course structure, or which have the particular domain specialization that I was looking for.
That's perfect. And let me tell you, Athri, this is the best combination. You have some couple of years of industrial exposure, and then you land up in academic institute, and you strengthen yourself with the new, concepts, theoretical concepts, experimental concepts, and then again land up in, this job market. So that is a very healthy combination. So you remove any one part of these two, and it is not a complete journey. Let me tell you honestly, because if you remove the exposure to industries, purely research and academic, you will always feel like you have missed something. And vice versa, if you are graduate, you land up in industries, and for next 30 years you're in industries, always at the back of the mind you will feel that, oh, I have missed some more years in academic, experience and exposure. I must have that. So you are going good. That is perfect. Now, Athri, let me bring you back to a very, very important, point here, which I want to raise and I want to discuss with you. That is, many youngsters and technocrats from India want to go to good universities and top universities and have world exposure. No doubt, we have very good universities back home also, but the international exposure is something which technocrats want and they should have. Because as I keep on sharing with my other students also, like, Indian technocrat is not going to serve the Indian market. They are actually to serve the needs of global markets, and that is what we see also. Now everybody, all technocrats, they have this particular desire, to have that exposure. But what stops them? There are two things. Number one, why I will not go for MS abroad, or why I think I should not, or I will not go abroad. Number one, the cost incurred. Paisa bahut lagega, there will be huge money investment. Number two, what after MS? Shall I get the job? Because even if I invest that much of money, shall I get the job there, and so that I get back what I have invested, and can I get a good career? These two things, let me tell you, awareness may be less or something like that. These two things stop many capable technocrats from India go abroad and explore those options. So I want to ask you very clearly, and you expect very clear answer from your side. How much money is to be invested? And these two questions must have bothered you also, that will that come back, and what job opportunities after that and all. So your answer to both these.
Yes, sir. So in answering these two questions, I would like to quote your experience, or your videos itself. I'm a huge fan of yours, and I used to constantly follow YourPedia education channel and videos that you are putting up on return on investments and all the related topics. So when I started to explore the courses and the cost incurred in these universities, so it is anywhere from 30-40 lakhs to 50-60 lakhs is a general range that is required to pursue masters in United States. So that became very much clear that this is the range that I'll be investing into this education in pursuing my masters. But it is something like investment in myself, because I'm trying to improve myself in a particular domain that I want to work for the rest of my life. So it is not something that for a short term or a short term investment. It is a long term investment which is going to be fruitful later on in my life. That was the cost part of it. And on return on investment part, once this much of money, let's say the 50 lakh or whatever it is invested, I became more aware of the options that we have, the funding options that we have here from Indian government or from the Indian banks. We get a lot of loan options and all the support from here. And also, once you are there, we have this OPT and CPT trainings available. So when the various things around this MS program, how it can be covered up, how the funding can be covered, and all that thing became more and more clear to me. I got more confident in pursuing this.
Okay.
So as you rightly pointed out, I think yes, the main thing that is lacking is the awareness of it, and I think YourPedia is doing an excellent job in creating this awareness, and I'm very thankful for that. And on the return on investment part, definitely when we look at the statistics from Bureau of Labor Statistics, I was referring to this website from United States government regarding the average wages and the job opportunities, particularly for my domain, VLSI domain. Where are the most job opportunities there? Where is the number of the job per thousand? Number of jobs per thousand persons, how is the density there? So I used mostly not based on the general generalized thinking, but more on the data and statistics. When these things, when more and more data I got to collect them, it became more and it became more clear that it is not such a risky investment. It is basically a safe bet to invest this much amount, and there is a fair chance that I can easily recover this. There is a very good return on investment in this process.
Very rightly said, Athri, and from my own experience, through my own students, let me tell you, like, yeah, when you go for master's course, there is a sort of pressure on you, and that pressure helps you to perform also. And normally people get jobs, so there are misconceptions like once MS is over and then you have to land up in the job within 3 months or 6 months. If you don't, then they will send you back. I've not seen that situation. I've not seen student coming back without earning there. They earn there, that's not a problem. They want to come back home, that is always there. But it is not that okay, they are not getting any opportunity. Obviously the rider here is, condition here is, you have to pursue it seriously, you have to do your master seriously. And that is the assumption behind this, because the moment you invest 40-50 lakh, 30-40 lakh, whatever amount it comes out, the moment you invest that much of money, obviously you have to pursue it seriously. Otherwise that goes down the drain, it is wasted. And if you pursue it seriously, you get the opportunities. Athri, I would like to know a little more about this particular part of how much money is invested in which stages. So if you can tell us, maybe not if very precisely, maybe roughly, what are the stages of cost incurred, like when you start writing your exams and when you start applying in universities, how much cost is invested, and at what stage university wants, if you say 30 lakh, 40 lakh, 50 lakh, then how much that money, in what stages it is required, and if you want to take loan, at what stage you apply for loan, how much money you need to show in your accounts. So that practical procedural things which students want to know, if you can share us with that, then it will be very clear. So if bank gives you loan, collateral is required or not required, and what are the conditions on which this loan is given? Do they need some kind of selection letter from university before they provide you the loan? How much is the visa fee? So those kind of details, whatever you want to share, that will be useful to students.
Sure. So the last part of it, the visa process, I'm not yet very clear on that part, but I'll try to touch base on the things from the start of this journey when I wanted to start take up this MS course. So first thing, as you mentioned, regarding the preparation cost or the exams that you have to take it up. Luckily for this time, when I looked at the universities that I wanted to apply for, many of the universities were waiving the GRE requirements.
Yes.
So that became like a boon actually, which saved a couple of $15,000, 15,000 rupees for me. So that did not happen. That 15,000 was not spent. But other than that, then English proficiency exam is very much required. So that IELTS or TOEFL, whichever you want to take it up, that requires.
So both are equally good. Both are equally good. IELTS or TOEFL.
Yes. So in from a student's point of view, or rather from a university point of view, both are equally good. But from my point of view, what I feel personally is that IELTS is a little bit of little bit easier than TOEFL. And also I was more into the numbers and calculations. So I'm from basically from a middle class family. So I was looking for the cost that will be required when I have to send the scores as well. So the TOEFL charges around I think for $20-30. I don't know per university, but for IELTS it is around 250 rupees, which is the charges later on when you have to send the scores for each of these universities. Let's say you're applying for 5-6 universities. For each of them you have to spend that much money. So those things I took up into consideration, and I went ahead with IELTS to write IELTS.
Good.
So the test preparation part was those two things. And while applying for the universities, it is generally the application cost range from around $60 to anywhere to $148, $150. So there is a wide range of it. So some of the universities like the Arizona State University, which has this $148 for international students. So that would come out to be roughly more than 10,000 rupees. But some of them will be less than 5,000. Like for example, I have applied for Purdue as well. So Purdue had I think $75 or $70, somewhere around that is the application fee. So there is a wide spectrum of it. But rather than looking at the application fee into consideration, I was more looking into the coursework and what is the subjects that is being part of my MS and VLSI design curriculum, and that played a huge role in that.
Okay.
Once the application process cost, the applying part is done, I think then I started to look into the loan options and what are the available options for a student. I think it became clear to me there is prominently three segments or three kinds of loan that can be availed. One is through the dollar loans, which are usually like I think Prodigy, there is Beep Scholar, which gives the loan in dollars, and that will be directly disbursed when you need them. The second thing was the NBFCs, which were HDFC Bank and Axis and these things. But the third one, or the best option is the public sector banks like SBI, BOB, and these stuff. So, but the only problem with the public sector banks, although they have a considerably lesser rate of interest, when I look at for USC, for example, which I have recently received the cost statement and all that. So we need to show about roughly about 55 lakh financials to receive the admit or I-20, for example. So for that, when I started to explore in each of these options, I think the private banks, they generally there is this trade-off between the time taken for them to sanction a loan versus the interest rate or these parts. So public sector banks take up anywhere from 20 to 30 days to just give you a green signal that you might receive a loan. But on the other hand, on Axis Bank or HDFC, NBFCs, for example, they take roughly around 10-15 days. And the dollar loan option was even faster. I got my sanction letter within 3 days.
Okay.
So I have an offer from all the three. I tried in all the three, and I have a sanction letter from all the three right now. But considering if there is a possibility to go for a collateral loan, and if you have something your co-applicant you can show as a collateral, I think public sector bank would be the best option. Considering you will save anywhere around 3-4% on in the yearly interest rate. That will be huge when you consider the principal amount, 50-60 lakhs. So these were the three prominent options that I was looking for.
Okay, perfect. So I have a couple of things to ask you, Athri, for this. You mentioned about dollar loans, and then you mentioned about private sector banks and public sector banks, and you said that if you have collateral, the public sector will be better because you get less interest rate and all. Now, what is dollar loan? That still is not clear to me, honestly speaking. Dollar loan, I understand the bank, but I don't understand what is the institute involved in dollar loans.
Yes. Basically, the dollar loan concept is more based on the exchange rates that goes on in the day-to-day market, the dollar to INR conversion. So let's say the requirement is to show 70K dollars for an MS course.
Okay.
If you take it up with a dollar loan, you can directly apply for that $70,000 loan, and they will be sanctioning it to you in dollars itself.
Okay.
There is no conversion charges or anything of that sort in this whole process. But the hard truth is that we are seeing that the dollar is becoming more and more powerful as compared to rupee. So let's say 2 years down the line when you have to repay it, the amount that maybe today, which is 70,000, translating into around 50 lakhs or whatever, it might have bloated up to furthermore. And on top of it, these dollar loans, although they come at a substantially lesser interest rate, to just to hear it say, they say it as 3%, 4%, something like that. But actually, when you compute it with all these forex transaction charges and all these things, conversion rates, it comes out much more than the public sector banks what they offer.
Okay. So Athri, what we understand typically in our mind is like when you take loan from a financial institute or banks, they will ask for collateral, maybe land or something, property or something like that. So when you're saying private sector banks, if I approach HDFC, let us say, transaction really fast. You mentioned 10 days, maybe you get your loan sanctioned. So what do they take in the name of collateral, and how do they do hegemony of their risk involved? Suppose they give me a loan of 50,000 dollar as you're mentioning. So if I don't have any collateral, so how the bank will give me the loan? Let's say private sector bank.
Yes. So there is three kinds of these institutions, as I mentioned. And first kind, the dollar loans, they typically bet on your capability to repay the loan. So what they are looking for is basically, there is something called CIBIL score that the government of India keeps track of the credit scores.
Okay.
So which is usually these how well have you repaid your previous loans, or how well have you repaid your credit card bills. So
Okay.
this CIBIL score matters a lot. So you should have at least 750 or something out of 900 CIBIL score for them to at least consider your application. And on top of it, because I was working right now, they even consider my current CTC and my current earning potential, what I have right now in India. So those things are considered, and they bet on your potential to repay that loan amount. But when considering to public sector banks, they typically look for a co-applicant, maybe your father or mother, who can support you, or who can give a surety for you for your loan amount. And it is basically not on the student's potential to repay it, but on his secure whoever is putting his security. So basically, if your father or mother is salaried, they usually take up their ITRs, how is their earning potential
Okay.
into consideration. And there is also a collateral option for both of these private and public sector banks. They typically require about 150% of the loan amount to be the value of the property that you're trying to mortgage.
Okay. So that is also there. Okay.
Yes.
So Athri, how smooth is the entire process? Suppose you have the documents and everything is okay, then how smooth is the process in banks to get loan and all?
Right. So I think I'll try to compare all the three, how easy it was to procure that sanction letter. I think, as I mentioned, the trade-off between the interest rate and the typical time frame for getting a sanction letter for the dollar loan option. I need not have to even step out of my house. I just have to sit in front of my laptop. I have to upload all the documents required, and I just received the sanction letter on my mail just in 3 days.
Wonderful. So you didn't even go to bank?
I didn't even visit the branch. I didn't even talk to anybody. It is, everything is online, and it's completely digitized, and they take your KYC approvals, everything online. So there is nothing sort of roaming around or anything. With HDFC, they had this wonderful option that they actually send a representative home, So one of the person visited my place, and yes, he took up all the he basically verified the Xerox with the original documents, and then he did some verification kind of. He visited my father's working place, and then there he inquired how long he's been working there, what is the salary scale and all that. So typically a background verification and these steps occur, but still it is still that I did not had to move around anywhere. It was all in my doorsteps, and it happened considerably 10 to 15 days time frame. It was all over.
Okay.
But public sector banks is a completely different story. So typically they require the candidate as well as the co-applicant to visit their branch to meet their branch manager in person and submit the application. And they have there is one application for the bank, one application for the state government, whoever is trying to track it, and there is some schemes if there is anything like that. So there's multiple applications, multiple documents, and a lot more scrutiny that goes into public sector banks. Kind of that was the longest one that among these three.
But is there any advantage involved once you get loan from public sector? Any advantage in interest or something?
Yes. So I can clearly say that maybe the numbers involved with Bank of Baroda, because that is where I am approaching for. So the advantage is that they cover up to 100% of the costs involved. So there is no margin. Typically, SBI actually has 15% more margin. Even Canara Bank has this 15% margin. They don't cover the 100% of it. So there is different terms in each of these public sector banks also. But BOB seems to be the best option among these. And other than that, if your university is among their list, they have each bank has a list for STEM and non-STEM courses. The universities that is considered like maybe a safe list or something like that. So if your university is in that list, it will typically the interest rate is around 0.25% lesser as compared to if otherwise. So around 8.25% if it is in the list, and otherwise it is 8.5, something like that.
Okay.
So there is considerable saving in the interest rate as well as the coverage involved in this.
Okay. So Athri, now let me ask you, and this question is very straight, and answer should also be very straight. If a student aspires to pursue his masters, for which maybe 70K will be spent total process, and he is not having much finance with him, very less finance, maybe a couple of 2-3 lakhs or 1-2 lakh or something like that. The typical story I'm telling you about the majority of technocrats. So can he aspire to pursue this masters with the kind of support system from banks or financial institutions? So can he think and can he dream of doing this without much risk involved?
Yes. So I think looking at all the options that are available, yes, definitely anybody and anyone from any background he may be, irrespective of the maybe he's working right now or whatever it is. Even his father has that kind of financial backing that he can give us surety or anything like that. There is a lot more options that are available right now. There is many doors that have opened up through various schemes and various institutions. So I think yes, and anybody can dream of doing their masters abroad and pursuing their
perfect
abroad dream.
Okay. Now, Athri, let me ask you another very important question. See, I'm from different generation. Your generation is different. I'm from different generation. I'm from that generation where you used to study free. The college fees used to be per semester, I think 1,500 rupees, and you used to get scholarship of 1,800 rupees. So you used to end up saving 300 rupees or something like that. So I'm from that generation, and we have done by our graduation, BTech, masters, MTech, PhD, everything free of cost. In fact, government has paid us scholarship and something, and we are thankful for that. So I am from that generation, and so I am of strong supporter of pursuing education free of cost, in fact earning through higher education. And that is the reason you must have observed that I keep on telling students to pursue MTech from India with Gates scholarship or something like that, and then end up getting a very good scholarship in PhD abroad. and where you save money. And I keep on telling, you save money 50,000, 70,000 rupees per month and send back home to parents or something like that. So that is actually, I keep on telling to students. My question to you is straight. Why not a student should do masters from India, free of cost, maybe getting scholarship, and then save $70,000 which you are going to spend on your masters. And because PhD may, you are going to get scholarship, full scholarship, and maybe stipend and all you are going to get, so you are going to earn it. So what are the advantages? And I'm sure there are. What are the advantages of the path you are choosing, doing masters from those universities instead of doing masters from India and then going for PhD? So what are the advantages involved, that so that I don't want that biased opinion is gone to students, because I know that there are many students who immediately after graduation they want to go abroad for master, and there are advantages. But I will throw this question to you only, so that we provide both the options to students, unbiased opinion. Those who want to go for MS, yes, these are the reasons. Those who want to stay back for 2 more years and save this 50-70K and go for PhD, so both should be very, very clear why they are taking this path. So over to you now.
I think the era that you mentioned, that's kind of the golden era, I must say.
It's gone.
So it is gone.
It's gone now.
And
yeah.
And it was also so well and good back then. But now the world has turned out to be much more rat race kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, and considering both the options that you just mentioned, I think one with typically doing masters from prestigious institutions like IITs, NITs, and then going for PhDs abroad, that was not my preferred choice, because I was not really very much interested in investing 5-6 years of my time in pursuing my PhD. That's personally my thought process right now,
Okay.
because I'm not very much interested into PhD, doing my research or anything like that. I started in an VLSI career right after my BTech, and that's what I want to go back to after my masters, with much better prospect and much better package, or whichever whatever it is. So that option, it's not like I did not try that. Honestly, I have given GATE 2019 as well as in 2021, and I had received considerably good ranking. It was less than 3K ranking in 2019, and even in 21 as well. It was around 2K, I guess. I was getting good NITs and all that, but not the IITs typically. I should have tried probably the winter session that you always advocate, but unfortunately I couldn't, with all the work I was doing and all that. I couldn't concentrate much there. So yeah, so GATE and then MTech in these institutions and PhD is definitely a really good option, and considerably less burden on your pockets as well. And if you are really into the kind of mindset that you want to pursue PhD later, I think that's the option to go for. But if you're typically looking to get back into industries and maybe gain that, like if you're trying to right now I'm working, and if I have to apply for an H1B visa and directly start working or moving to US, it is considerably harder, and it is not so cakewalk kind of thing. But if you have a degree from a US institution, and if you want to start your career there after that, it is there is a drastic difference in the kind of process that you have to go through, and because you would have done some internship, CPT, OPT things. So because that was my goal or my aim in doing this whole thing, and in this process also strengthening my the interest that I wanted to learn more in my masters. So I chose the second path, the later route. But both are equally good, and I would definitely leave it to the discretion of the student who wants to pursue which path.
So beautifully explained. So let me summarize what actually we came to here. Number one, no doubt PhD is a very long commitment. So certainly after graduation, if you want to go for PhD through masters, it is going to take not less than 5 years. It is more than that. So it's a long commitment. And yes, we should not say that you do PhD only because you get stipend. You should do PhD because you want to do it. That is very, very important, because it is research, hardcore research ecosystem there, and professor is grilling you, and you have very bad phases during PhD, depressogenic phases also. So yes, you should not do PhD because you are getting only more scholarship. That cannot be the criteria. It should be like, yes, I want to do PhD, and I'm very clear that after PhD I want to pursue this career. So those students who want to pursue career in corporate and they want to kickstart their career early, yes, master is a very good option. So masters may, if you are very sure that you will be doing good effort and the domain which you are choosing is domain of your interest, then certainly you will do good and you can start your career early. So both have their own advantages and disadvantages, if we can say that way. So you have to choose. So as you rightly said, let's leave it on the viewers only. And as mentors, as teachers, as guide, we can provide both the perspectives. The students along with their parents are the best to take the decision, that is there, but options exist, that is what we should say. And good thing is, like, people like you are choosing one option, and I'm lucky to be in contact with so many such students who every day choosing one path or the other, and I'm sitting here and interacting with them and showing all the paths. So it's a good, actually, because everybody can accordingly identify them with the people like you, that this is the path I want to take and this suits me, so they can take that. But only thing is, take the efficient path. Whatever path you take it efficient, so that you don't waste the resources. We are technocrats, we should optimize the resources. That is all our worry is, and do it properly. Now, Athri, I'm coming to next very important point, that is, when you want to go for masters and you are going to invest money in that, so you have a couple of options with you. Which university you have to choose, which course you have to choose, and where to go, which country to go, because we have many options, US, Europe, and many other options we have. Which course to pursue in engineering, we have many options. Unlike you have done some job, you have job experience that is significant, maybe 3 years by the time you join, and VLSI. So maybe domain of research gets fixed for you, but for graduate, fresh graduate, options are there. So which domain he is to choose, and he is to link it with the further career also, post masters. So what he is going to do. So my question to you again is, how to choose these parameters, how factors, like which country to go, which course to pursue, which university to choose, which professors to work with, how to identify all these parameters.
So I think the best person to answer this question is on the other end, but I'll try to only touch base
Okay.
on the part that I am aware of, maybe the electronics part that I am aware of a little bit. Yeah, let me start with the first part, that is choosing the country. So choosing the country is a really important step when you want to pursue your masters. There is a lot of options, and I have been constantly looking in, watching the videos from YourPedia. There is a lot of scholarships from Norway, Scandinavian countries that you were mentioning, and even Europe, Germany. There's US, Singapore. There's a lot of things. For me, as I wanted to pursue my career in VLSI, so clearly the German and the Europe, UK countries did not really seem like a very popular choice for to pursue this career that I wanted to. The two locations or two countries that stand out in this VLSI perspective is either US, which is kind of the leader in this domain of semiconductor business, and also there is Singapore that also has quite a good share of because it is near to Taiwan and all the semiconductor manufacturing side. If you want to pursue, if you're interested into that. So when the choice was between these two, I clearly went ahead with the first one, the US one, because there is more emphasis on the design aspects of it, and I was not very much interested into the manufacturing aspects of the chip, basically the silicon manufacturing. So that is when US was I decided to pursue it in US. And when choosing the universities, there's a lot of parameters. And I think the YourPedia mentors, I should thankfully mention here Ankit sir and Rahul sir. They really guided me in scrutinizing the whole. I had around 20-30 universities that I had put it in an Excel sheet, and I was really confused how to get it down to 5 or 6. That is when a lot of parameters. I think I considered waiving of GRE as one parameter, cost as one more, and the location as one another, and the coursework, what is involved, and professors. So there was about a bunch of 6-7 parameters. Considering all of it, and whatever was falling into the majority of these categories, that is where the scrutiny happened, and finally the list boiled down to 6 or 7 universities that I wanted to apply. So this is for choosing the universities part. I think yeah, and then the job prospects aspects as well has to be looked at, and considering all of this, and the way the way you want to structure your career ahead, I think the choice of the university as well as the location, and these matter a lot.
Okay, so Athri, now these parameters you have explained. Now let me ask you, if somebody wants to minimize the money spent on application per university, like 10K approximately will be cost incurred per university. So what is the optimum number where one student should apply? Can that be minimized without compromising the this particular probability to get selected? Because more universities we apply, no doubt we get more probability of getting selections. But what can be the minimum safe number, if I ask you, of universities in which a student should apply?
Yes. So according to me, I had this typical risk reward equation that I wanted to have it in a very safe way. I wanted it to be a very safe bet. So what I did was I had a mix of 3 kind of universities in my list. So I applied for one of the ambitious ones, and then 3 from safe or moderate, and then other 3 from the safe options. So typically, I think initially what I had was more like 1, 2, and 3. One aspiring, 2 moderate, and 3 safe. That would be a little more conservative, I felt later on when I discussed with the mentors as well as my peers, and I did not want to be really conservative and end up did not like try to get that best possible option that I could achieve. So considering that, I think even minimizing the risk of not getting selected to any of it. So that is also important to have some of the safe universities in your list. So I think a typical mix for me would be 1 aspiring, 3 moderate, and 3 safe ones, if I have to choose from.
Okay, Athri, now how important is the QS ranking kind of factors, and what is important, like QS ranking, or the name of university, or the career opportunities in the vicinity of university? So what my question is, let me rephrase it. If I give you example of India, like in India also we have IITs. The location of IITs, if we see, there is Kharagpur, maybe not much industrial hub outside. Then there's IIT, in Bombay or Madras. Madras, you have some kind of industrial setup in now Madras and Chennai region, and Bombay also you have some kind of industries and job opportunities there in the vicinity of IIT. So what is the important factor? I mean, the institute itself, the name itself, QS, which is reflected in the QS ranking, which actually is also related to the kind of research papers you publish and kind of factors. But for us, like student, who is spending money, the most important thing for him is actually the job. So what is more important factor, the QS ranking or the location of the university in the vicinity of the industries? And like California is a hub it's a IT hub, that particular thing. So what is the important thing as electronic engineer, which university, what kind of jobs in the vicinity? So how to go for it?
That's a really interesting question, and there is a lot of parameters that might be of interest to some of the students. But in my case, I had 3 main aspects that I was looking for. One, as you mentioned, the QS ranking. I just want to clear the air out that even what I heard from my peers who have already been into US, or even the YourPedia mentors, and from your side as well, the rankings as such is not a great game changer as it is. So the universities, if we see a whole bunch of them, maybe from QS1 to QS200 or even in that range, everybody is doing research in one or the other domain, and they have some expertise in some of the domain, and no university is really bad in everything. So something like that. So there is all sorts of mixture there. So I would say the QS ranking typically, which mainly focuses maybe on the undergraduate admissions and graduate admissions, then some of the factors like the maybe the student to teacher ratio and all that. I'm not saying they're not important, but they don't really matter much if you are looking for a career later, or when you're choosing a university from a student point of view. What might be of really interest to a student might be the graduate employability ranking, which I referred to when I was looking for the universities.
True.
I think that helped me in getting the list of universities that I can bet on getting admit from. And typically the acceptance rate might also be helpful in scrutinizing that list. And I think the job market or the employability or the number of jobs in that particular domain that you want to pursue in that location. I think the location also was third factor that I considered when choosing it. But as such, the QS ranking will not be a huge game changer if you just look at it the other way.
So to make this thing even more clear to the viewers, I will even refer Indian situation. Like there are NIRF rankings for Indian universities, and when counseling goes, then we sometimes say, what do you want? Majority students say, sir, we want job. We say, okay, then NIT Trichy uthalo, NIT Warangal you take, NIT Surathkal you take, instead of maybe new generation IITs, because you ranking may be higher in IIT, but the job agar lena hai to wahan pe to 100% placement chal raha hai pichle 5 saal se, so you take it that way. So Athri, we recommend that particular thing, and we should be very, very clear what our priorities are, what we want actually. And obviously a student from India, the first priority will be to get into job and pay back their loans and start career ahead and pursue forward. And the moment you are in US, I know many of my students who went to US for masters and then landed up in job. After that they went to very good B schools, top B schools of US after earning money in US, and that is how, I mean, the flexibility exists in those universities. So all the options there, Athri. So let me again thank you. Now, Athri, we have come to almost an end of this beautiful informative session, and a lot of points have come from your side. Now, last question is again related to you. So when are you going to join the university now finally? When will the season start? When will this admission process and that will start now?
Yes, sir. I think coming towards the end of this session, I would really like to thank you, Vijayender sir, for spending your time, as well as the whole YourPedia team and the foreign consultancy team that you have set up. A wonderful team, really, that have helped students like me to walk. I mean, they really held my hand and walked through the whole journey with me. So I really want to thank that. And the joining date, or maybe the fall 22, that term that I have applied for, typically starts from August or September time frame. And I think that is when I'll be planning to maybe a 15 or a month before that, I'm planning to fly to US and maybe get settled a little bit, and then start with the new phase of my life.
Okay, so, and till that time, 1 month before, I think you will keep on doing your present job. So you must be in the job only right now, right?
Correct. Yes. Yeah. Okay. I'm planning to continue my job till that time. I think exactly. I think one and a half months before my joining, or the time to fly. I think I'll complete my 3 years. The anniversary here at Microchip. So okay. I'm looking forward to that.
That's a great domain, because there's a huge demand nowadays, Athri, for that. And I'm sure you're going to have a wonderful career ahead. So thanks a lot, Athri, for this detailed explanation of everything, and look forward to interact with you once you are in the campus to know more about the campus life there and opportunities there.
Thank you so much, sir. The pleasure was mine.